Celtics blew a 20-point second-half lead in Game 1 against the Knicks. They attempted 60 threes in the game. They missed 45 of them. Both of those are NBA playoff records. Our Tim Legler, our resident three-point specialist, was watching. He was not impressed.
What the Boston Celtics did last night was an insult to basketball, in my opinion, man. That's an abomination. An abomination offensively to play the way they played. And look, if people are going to sit there, well, that's how they play all the time, man. Live by the three, die by the three. What are you talking about? Watch the game. The Celtics contingent and people that love the Celtics or that defend the Celtics are going to say today, well, they're all uncontested threes. My ass. I watched, I wrote them all down. What I didn't understand was why were the Celtics playing as if for literally an entire 18-minute stretch, they played offense like there was 3 seconds left in the game. Every guy that caught the ball. That's what I was trying to figure out. What the hell is the hurry? You can't play that way offensively while this lead's slipping away without figuring out a way to get to a mid-range jumper, something at the rim or free throws. It's embarrassing. You tailor-made the environment for the Knicks to do what they did to you. This is on the Celtics. So, no, man, I was disgusted by the display. I don't care who wins the game. I was just disgusted because it's horrible basketball.
Hey, wrong. Oh, wow. So Tim Legler was watching, and he had interesting thoughts. Wilbon, Monica, and Jay Will, I'll start with you. Your reaction.
I mean, my reaction yesterday was I thought it was the dumbest second half that I've seen the Celtics play in a very long time. And, I mean, Tim just reiterated that. I mean, think about what led them to a championship last year. There were times, Mike, where we would see Brown and Tatum actually post up on the block. The only post presence they have is Porzingis, who went out with the illness the other day, or at least have the awareness to drive and rack the ball to get to the free throw line to find a way to build some rhythm. What we saw the other day was just, it was alarmingly shocking. Alarming. It was so apparent.
He said it well, Michael, that they played like they were down 20 rather than up 20.
Yeah. See, I don't even associate it with play. I associate it with something. First of all, they acted like the area inside the arc was a moat, right?
Right.
It was just arrogance. That's what it is. There's a certain arrogance about them and their head coach, and it worked last year. The reason I did not pick the Celtics starting the year, the league's too good to repeat. All right, I know they want, and they're driven by it, and I love watching Brown and Tatum, among others, and Derek White. I love watching them, but the league is too good. You have to go through enough people now where you can't give away a game. Oklahoma City's going to discover this. They gave away a game to a champion. Will they still win the series? I don't know, but that hurts you. Are the Knicks going to beat Boston? I don't think so. But you still give away. Did you see what happened to Steph Curry last night? You can twist an ankle in an extra game, in an extra quarter. You don't do it. There's an arrogance there that you don't respect the opponent. We do what we do. What? What kind of nonsense is that? We do it, live by the three. Okay, you may die by it. Didn't pick them just because I thought the league is so good now. There's so many good teams. And even if you beat the Knicks, can you then get through Indiana or Cleveland? Can you then get through whoever's on the other side, Denver or OKC or Golden State if they're healthy? Maybe it'll break right again. But the Celtics were so arrogant in game one. They won't do that tonight. I can't wait. I'm taking the train up to Boston shortly. I can't wait for this game. They won't. They'll play basketball the way the Boston Celtics should play. And I know it's important to those guys, and this is what I really like about them, to do something Bird, McHale, and Parrish never did. To do something Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and Rondo didn't do. I respect that about them. But that arrogance, that's what offended me from game one was the arrogance.
The thing they didn't do that he's referring to is winning back-to-back championships. Those great Celtic teams in the 80s won 3, but they didn't ever win 2 of them in a row. Monica, you were there. What are your thoughts on what we just heard from Tim Legler?
The most interesting point about the Legs rant was, to me, the idea of uncontested versus still rushed, right? Because forcing a guy to rush is a way to contest a shot. And so I thought that was really interesting. Look, I'm obviously on the other side of this when it comes to the Knicks. And I was so impressed with the comeback for the Knicks. And I actually thought that they played their best defense yet versus this Boston Celtics squad. I guess I'm a little bit less offended by the three-point shooting, though, at large, because shooter shoot to get hot and shooter shoot to stay hot, baby. Like, you're going to let it fly. I just think, though, being there was this tenuous sort of air about it that one of these was going to fall, right? Like, yes, they still might have a number that isn't ideal percentage-wise, but you just felt like one of them was going to fall, which to me is why it was so impressive what the Knicks were able to do in terms of ultimately pulling this one out.
But Monica, was it 19 of 20 shots in a quarter?
Third
threes?
quarter, yes.
You see a lot of basketball in the play. That's the only other time I remember in a playoff game of importance. The Rockets did this a few years ago. And I think it was the game after Chris Paul got hurt.
Yeah,
it
was the
like
D'Antoni Rockets.
They got a 3-1 lead on Golden State. And they were like 1 for 27 and 1 for 28.
But Mike,
does anybody anymore call a timeout and say you got not just credible assistant coaches, really fine assistant coaches to say, hey, there's a plan B. We don't have to shoot threes.
But they don't think that way. I mean, Joe Mazzulla was asked about it. His answer was make them. I mean, I don't want to play it because I don't want to take the time. But his entire response basically to what his team needs to do is, well, just make them. They're there to be taken. They're there to be made. Make them. That's his answer.
but can we state the most obvious thing is when you're one-dimensional, you're easier to guard. I know
That's
you're trying
true.
to get to the
Yeah.
three-point line. You're not giving me any complexity within your offense.
But what they would say back, I agree with you, but what they would say back is this is what we do and we always win doing it. They're 20
Let's see if they do it tonight.
If
You're
I
so
guarantee
bold,
they
you're
won
that
the over.
bad,
No way
and
they're
you're
gonna-
so
the
bold and your
arrogance-
formula is your formula and you're going to stick to it, then let's see what happens tonight.
No way, Mike,
We-
your arrogance is to that extent.
Of course not.
No way.
Of course not.
Monica.
I'm with you, Wilbon, in that I think they will still get those threes up. The process by which they get to those threes will change slightly. I think you will see more dribble penetration, really looking to collapse this Knicks
Won't be
defense.
a moat. The
But
alligators
yeah, they're going
inside
up,
the
y'all.
ark.
They're going up.
Medieval times.
Ridiculous.
So what's the over-under? What is there probably is, this total probably exists, Hembo, or someone can tell me, what is the total on the prop bet on how many threes the Celtics will attempt tonight, and which way do we go? They shot 60 the other night. They average 39 three-point attempts in their last 25 playoff games, in last season and this season, and they're 20-5. They average 39. Will they go, if I put the over-under at 39.5 threes, will they go over or under?
They shoot 60 the other night.
60.
They'll go over.
They'll go
I still think they'll go over.
They got to go over.
But Mark
Say it again,
said that's
Stig.
an important point. How they get there, and they're a real offense. They're so diversely talented. Why would you limit yourself, as Jay said, to that approach, and therefore make yourself easier to guard by a Knicks team that can guard?
So they took 90 shots. 71 of the 90 shots were jump shots, and 60 of the 71 were three-pointers.
The prop bet is, the over-under is 15.5 made threes. Go ahead, Monica.
I'll take an over.
And really just, not that I want to defend the Celtics, but when you look at this matchup through the season, I believe during the regular season, 50% of their offense in this particular matchup came from three, in at least 3 out of the 4 games, if not all 4. And so I think to add to Wilbon's phrase, the arrogance of it all, it's not just that is what they have done. It is also what they have done in particular in this matchup so far, which is why, for me, until the next day when Jay called out 19 out of 23s in the third quarter, I was just so captivated by the comeback from the Knicks.
Okay, I have to leave it there, and we have to say Mr. Wilbon has got to jump on a train.
Where are you going?
He's going up to Boston.
No.
He was going to be back later in the
Boston.
week.
Yeah, you got to go.
Oh, wait, Greeny won't let you.
He's going. I need Jay here. We got Windy coming up in the next hour. We are jam-packed in the major breaking news in the.
Ladies and gentlemen, Knicks fans around the world, welcome back to the New York Knicks Report. Yeah, I said Knicks, even though today we're going to start in a place most New Yorkers don't even want to think about for more than 30 seconds, Philadelphia. But hear me out, because while we sit here waiting to hear what Leon Rose is cooking up next, while we analyze every free agent rumor, every ankle tweak, and every post-game interview from Jalen Brunson, the Philadelphia Eagles just did something. That should make every Knicks fan stop and ask, why can't we have that? Tight end Dallas Goedert, one of Philly's most reliable offensive weapons, just agreed to restructure his contract to stay with the team until at least 2025. Now pause right there. Let's take that in. Not just a player staying put, not just loyalty. This is a guy who could have cashed out, who was already due more than $14 million, but instead he took a rework deal, $10 million plus incentives, just to stay in Philly. Why? Because he believes in their culture, because he's bought into their vision, because, say it with me, Knicks fans, they have a plan. And now I gotta ask, do we? Let's be clear. This isn't about the NFL. This isn't about tight ends or touchdowns or hamstring injuries. This is about team identity. This is about continuity, about purpose, about knowing who you are and what you're building. Dallas Goedert has been in Philly since 2018. He's been through Super Bowl runs, injury setbacks, a changing quarterback room, and he's still signed up for more. Why? Because that franchise has built something players want to be a part of. Can we say the same about the Knicks? Let's take a good hard look at ourselves. We've got a star in Jalen Brunson, no question. The kid is everything we wanted in a point. Guard and more. We've got heart. We've got hustle, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, Isaiah Hartenstein. Those dudes grind. But here's the problem. We don't know what we are yet. Are we a team built around Brunson's playmaking? Are we still clinging to the idea of Julius Randle as a franchise cornerstone? Are we developing young talent like Deuce McBride or sending them to other zip codes as soon as the trade window opens? Ask yourself this. If you're a player like OG, Anunoby, or a potential free agent this summer, do you want to commit long-term to this version of the Knicks? Would you take less money to stay? Because Dallas Goedert just did that for the Eagles, and unless we build the kind of foundation that inspires that level of loyalty, we're just treading water. Now let's jump across the country for a second to the Warriors. Yeah, the team we're supposed to be reporting on, they just beat the Timberwolves without Steph Curry. Think about that. No Steph, still a win. Still a functioning unit. Why? Because Golden State, love 'em or hate 'em, has something we don't. Organizational stability. Say what you want about Draymond, about the ups and downs, about the age. The core of that team, Steph, Clay, Draymond, has been intact for over a decade. They know each other's moves like the back of their hand. We're still figuring out the playbook. Every season feels like an experiment, a trial run, a waiting game. Meanwhile, teams like the Eagles, like the Warriors, they have guys buying in, locking in, believing in a system that isn't perfect, but is real. When was the last time a Knicks player signed a deal that made you say, he took less because he wants to win here? It ain't happened since the 90s, folks, and maybe not even then. Look, this isn't about Goedert. It's not about hamstring strains or contract clauses or Super Bowl rings. This is about New York. This is about the mecca of basketball, finally. Building a franchise that players would sacrifice to stay with. We can't keep relying on grit alone. We can't keep hoping that some trade deadline miracle will save us. We have to do what the Eagles are doing, what the Warriors have already done. We need to build a foundation worth staying for, because once you've got that, once you've got players who believe in the jersey, not just the contract, that's when the banners come. That's when culture turns into championships. So I ask you, Knicks Nation, who would you re-sign at a discount right now? Who do you trust? To build around long-term? Who's that guy who makes you say, that's the heart of this team, and I don't care what the cap hit is, I want him here? Drop your answers in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's debate it, because if we ever want to hang another banner in Madison Square Garden, we have to figure out who's part of the solution and who's just passing through. This is the New York Knicks Report, where every headline is about more than just the scoreboard. It's about the soul of this team, the pride of this city, and the fans who bleed orange and blue every single day. Let's build something real.